yes or no. I can or I can't. And ultimately, I suppose the decision is to fight on or to give up. It's never easy, but I keep choosing to say, yes, I can, and to keep on fighting, because I see it as my way forward. So I started making these goals for myself. Initially, I needed to learn how to breathe on my own again. Just think about that. How easy it is to breathe in and out. Next, I needed to learn to use the tiny bit of functioning muscle I had left to do as much as I possibly could for myself. I remember hours spent in the gym just trying to straighten out my arm. I remember spending 50 minutes in occupational therapy just trying to pick up a little wooden block. Well, 4 of them. I remember arriving down another day and my therapist seeing just how frustrated I was with absolutely no way to vent it. So what does she do? She hands me a box of Scrabble and says, off you go and make as many curse words as you can. I also remember the first time I went home. And I really had to come to terms with what had actually happened for the first time. And just how scary a prospect that was. I remember the pain, but more so the guilt. Not so much for myself, but for my family and friends as to what the potential implications were for them. I remember this numbness that consumed me for a while, some days to the point where I couldn't even speak. But then I came through it, and from this position of pure vulnerability, once again I saw possibilities and opportunities, and I decided it was time to move forward. Over the last 2 years, a massive amount of work has gone in, all in an attempt to regain my independence. I think the only person that wasn't surprised when I was back in college and living away from home only 13 months post-injury was myself. Gradually, as my energy started to improve, I stopped just existing in college. I started making my lectures, going out with my mates. I started building a gym program to get my body into the best possible condition I can be in, acknowledging that I need to live in the now, but also prepare myself for the inevitable breakthrough in the future. I suppose you could say I was dealt a bad card, but sure, people are dealt a bad card every single day. That girl that's waited her whole life to walk down the aisle and breaks her fingernail just before she goes. That's absolutely devastating. That one student that actually studied for the exam and still fails. And this young lad with the world at his feet that breaks his neck on the first day of his holidays. But it's not about the event, is it? It's about the response. It's about that decision, yes, I can, and to keep on fighting. She sucks it up and strolls down that aisle as if she owns the place. He studies twice as hard and absolutely nails that exam the next time. And that young chap does everything he can to keep his head above water. And then he decides he's going to kick life in the arse. It's not easy. I'd be lying if I said it was. But I find that the more I make that tough decision, the easier it gets. Yes, I still need help getting up in the morning, with tasks in college and getting around. Yes, the footpaths are uneven and there's hills bloody everywhere. Yes, it's a little bit different before. And yes, there's probably 1,000,001 other reasons that I could choose for not making any effort at all, or even getting up in the morning. But what a lot of you don't know about me is that there's still a tiny little bit of that fearless kid left inside me. And every single day, he reminds me that I can still cycle without my stabilizers. Thank you very much.
Jack Kavanaugh's story is one of the most amazing, inspirational, and powerful stories I've ever heard in my entire life. Someone that overcame extreme adversity And I felt real blessed to be able to share that with you. And if you want to hear more of this kind of stuff, more empowering messages, more life-changing talk, tune in each and every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on DTMWickedRadio.com. That's all you got to do is search us on Google, click, go to us, listen, and you can hear these incredible messages.
Stacking up from a killing spree, and again the good will be in my head. It's in my head. And every night is the same as every day. Restless, it feels like it never ends. It never ends. Hey you, how could you let yourself go? How could you let us all down? Now everyone that you know, they never seem to come around. A fool you are. Oh, what a fool you are. Now every day you try and take something new. Anything they have, they would give to you. You know it's true. It's no surprise to find you'll never bring it back again. It's up to you, but can you do it without your friends? I bet you can. You can, you can. Hey you, how could you let yourself go? How could you let us all down? Now everyone that you know, they never seem to come around. A fool you are. Oh, what a fool you are. Oh, what a fool you are. Yeah. Hey you, how could you let yourself go? How could you let us all down? Now everyone that you know, they never seem to come around. A fool you are. Oh, what a fool you are. Oh, what a fool you are. Now every night is the same as every day.
I'm Will Scoville. Welcome back to D.T.M Wicked Radio, Swinging at Shadows, joined by my co-host, the lovely Catherine Seinft. Now, without further ado, we're going to have it right here. Catherine will be talking about human trafficking, things that you can never even imagine. It happens right here in your own backyard. That's right, it happens right here. So, without further ado, the lovely Catherine.
When people think of the word human trafficking, they stereotypically think of the movie Taken, or they think that it happens in other countries and happens in Romania or Russia or other places and not in the U.S. The truth is far much graver, much more horrendous, and much more vile, for it is the truth. Human trafficking is an epidemic in the United States and worldwide, specifically in San Antonio, Texas. Human trafficking is modern-day slavery for profit and worldwide is a $32 billion industry. surpassing that of the drug trade by $100,000. According to UNICEF, human trafficking is now number one in the world for the crime. The U.S. alone generates $9 billion of a $32 billion industry. That makes the U.S. generating 30% worldwide of human trafficking money. U.S. alone, 87% of all human trafficking cases are against U.S. citizens. Texas alone equates 28% of all human trafficking cases in the United States. Many people don't realize this, but 42% of all human trafficker perpetrators are women. They are recruiters, enforcers, and/or handlers. There are two types of human trafficking. There is the sex trade, which generates 88% of human trafficking, and slave labor, which is 12%. San Antonio, Texas, is the hub of human trafficking because it sits in the middle of the slave trade that originates in Oregon, down through California, down through the Baja Port, through Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, then through Texas, and then to the East Coast through Gainesville, Florida, and up to Maryland. San Antonio, Texas literally sits in the middle of the slave trade. The family that I was raised into and sold into were the ones that established the slave trade that now runs through San Antonio, Texas. Why are people trafficked? Why is this an epidemic? How is this even happening in the United States? Human traffickers see children and people as a renewable commodity. You can sell a bag of cocaine and it's done with. But with a human being, you wash them off, throw them in a horse trough, and resell them again. Humans are the best renewable commodity ever to exist in the business of human trafficking. The level of depravity has unmanageable depths, and people wonder, why can't you run away? Why are you trapped there? The human traffickers condition the victims to make them think that they are not valuable because they're being sold. In my case, when I was sold, there were many times that I was electrocuted for profit, where guys would watch me get electrocuted for $500, or raped, or have me buried alive and then dug back up and to see if I would live. The truth is, human trafficking is the face of evil. It is a very vile crime. It rapes you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. There is hope in human trafficking, and that is through awareness. Unfortunately, because human trafficking has been around for so long now the good guys have to work extra harder to put a stop to this epidemic. In San Antonio alone, because we sit in the middle of the slave trade because of the I-10 and the I-35 corridor, we must take extreme measures now in order to put an end to human trafficking. First, we must become aware, and be aware not just citizen-wise, but citywide, and take a citywide initiative. There must be legislation in place where those who are caught human trafficking are prosecuted to the fullest levels of the law. Right now, if a human trafficker is caught in San Antonio, Texas, or in Texas alone, they get a slap on their hand and say, "Don't do that again." We must have a zero-tolerance policy against human traffickers. They must be prosecuted like those in the drug trade, where their houses are seized, their homes are taken, their bank accounts seized, and they are given 15 years without probation in the jail system with a felony conviction. We must have safe harbor laws for the victims of human trafficking. Right now, the state of Texas does not have any safe harbor laws. So a victim of the sex trade can come forward to the police and say, "I'm being sold," and instead they will be prosecuted for being a prostitute instead of being a victim. The keys to stopping human trafficking is awareness, education, training, legislation, resources, and reintegration. Right now, 99.9% of all victims of human trafficking return back to the devil they know. We must have resources out there